We've always been in the grace of God. You do not have to ask for it. You do not have to wonder whether you are in the good graces of God. You always are. You exist within that God, that source of all of us, as an aspect of all that is. And therefore you can never be separate from that which you previously once believed was a being that existed in a far-off place and separate from you. Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm so excited today to read some really mind-blowing channelings from the creators. I've had the opportunity to read some incredible channelings in the past by the creators. The creators are channeled by Daniel Scranton. You can find more of these channelings at danielscranton.com. Daniel has some incredible books that have collected some of these incredible channelings that focus on our shift into the fifth dimension, our shift into the new earth, our abilities to manifest and ascend. There's always powerful information packed into this, and this has some really interesting topics. They discuss if this is all God's plan, activations, attunements, and upgrades. The information age and darkness lead you into the galactic age. The need for you to exist in today's world. Time-tested manifesting trick to employ. Change your future and your past in one step, and so much more. Is this all God's plan? We are here for you. We are the creators. We are the 12th dimensional collective of non-physical beings, and we are here to help. We've always been in the grace of God. You do not have to ask for it. You do not have to wonder whether you are in the good graces of God. You always are. You exist within that God, that source of all of us, as an aspect of all that is. And therefore you can never be separate from that which you previously once believed was a being that existed in a far-off place and separate from you. Now, the reason that we remind you of this is because when you recognize that everything is source, and everyone is source, and everyone is living within the grace of God, you must also recognize that everything is God's plan. Everything is in perfect order according to the divine. Source would not have created the possibility for something to exist if it did not serve a greater purpose, a higher purpose. What that means is you don't have to push against anything or anyone as though it should not be exactly as it is. And that should be a huge relief to you, because if you look around long enough, you will find plenty to resist. There's plenty going on out there that you would find to be objectionable, to say the very least. So then what is your task if not to snuff out all the evildoers of the world, or lock them up, or make them change their terrible, terrible ways? Your job is to be you, and be the real you in response to everything that God has created for you to know yourself through. Therefore, once you come to that conclusion that everything is perfect as it is, you can start to look for the more perfect response from you to it. And you will find it if you look for it and you look within. Best way for you to know yourself as the source energy being that you are is to find the love that exists inside of your very own heart. It's there. It may be clouded and shrouded by all kinds of other feelings, thoughts, and beliefs. But if you are willing to dig deep enough, you will find it. You are that which you are seeking, and therefore you must find it. And you will. And you will know yourself as the God that you are. And you will be able to walk this planet, and with that knowing, and with knowing that everyone else is also a source energy being. When you're able to do that, you raise your vibration to a level that is high enough to complete the ascension of your consciousness. And then you can move on to a new level, to new challenges, but also to more opportunities and less limitations. This is your task in a nutshell, and you may not remember doing so, but it is exactly what you signed up to do in this lifetime of yours. Give yourselves that beautiful experience of knowing yourselves as unconditional love, and know that as you start to think, speak, and act as that which you truly are, everything else falls into place. And then you actually get to experience the good graces of God that you are always in. Very good. We are the creators, and we love you very much. End political polarization and all disagreements. We are here for you. We are the creators. We are a 12th dimensional collective of non-physical beings, and we are here to help. We know you have your differences with one another, and we witness you in how you experience those differences. We want you to know that someone disagreeing with you on any topic doesn't have to affect you emotionally. You don't have to get upset because someone else disagrees with you. Instead, you can recognize that maybe it is true that there is something else here at work. It is a possibility that the reason you don't see eye to eye with someone else is because the two of you working together could find a third option, a solution that was better than the one that either of you had fixated on and had assumed was the best solution. So you don't need to fight. You don't need to determine who was right. And you certainly don't need to go back and look at who has been more right in the past. You can let go of the past and understand that the present is the moment that you have all of your power in. So when someone disagrees with you, instead of arguing with them, insisting that you are right and they are wrong, get curious about why you have attracted that person into your experience who does not agree with you. Perhaps you are meant to let go of your resistance of their point of view. Perhaps you're supposed to be letting go of your fear of the world that they think is the better world for everyone. Perhaps you're meant to work through your differences with other people because of your history with those people. In other words, you are growing exponentially because of all the challenges that you face there on Earth, and disagreements with other people are some of the other challenges that you are facing right now. You don't have to worry about someone else being more right than you are. You can agree to disagree. You can focus on the best possible world for all people, and you can recognize that you may not know the path to that world. You can let go of your attachment to an outcome. You can go with the flow and tell Source that what you're hoping for is the best possible outcome for everyone. Now again, you will be facing that which you have been fearing, judging, and resisting, and sometimes those things will come to you in the form of someone else saying, thinking, or doing something that challenges you, that triggers you, and that hopefully gets you to examine your own resistance to them, to their beliefs, to their way of being in the world. If you can do that, you can heal so much within yourselves. You can grow spiritually, and you can live and let live. You can recognize that source energy thought that person being exactly as they are in that moment was a pretty good idea, good enough to create. But everything and everyone must exist as they are for a reason. And the reason is always that there is something better that you are moving towards at all times. And when you can pull back far enough to recognize there is a bigger picture, you can benefit from everything that is just as it is right now. Yes, there are all kinds of issues on your planet, all kinds of things that you would like to change about life on Earth right now. But it is all there for you to grow out of, to grow from, and not simply push against and do everything in your power to change. You change you, and you see everything outside of you changing magically as a result. And one of the things you can do right now to help better your world is to stop fighting with people who are in your life or who are disagreeing with you on some key issue or politics. You have the ability to rise above that mentality of us versus them and to be one who unites. And that's what we want to encourage you to do, because we know how much potential there is within humankind right now to rise above the turmoil, the chaos, and the fighting that is going on in so many sectors of society. You are the ones to put an end to the divisiveness, to humanity being polarized. And that's why you are there right now witnessing it all. We are the creators, and we love you very much. Activations, attunements, and upgrades are here. We are here for you. We are the creators. We are a 12th dimensional collective of non-physical beings, and we are here to help. We give you the activations, the attunements, and the upgrades that we can and that you're ready for, and you open yourselves up to receive when you are relaxed, or when you're in love or experiencing joy. You see, you don't have to ask any of us ever for anything because it is always being given. And sometimes when you are trying to receive what you have asked for, you are actually getting in your own way. Therefore, it is always a good practice to just go and enjoy your life, or find something relaxing or exciting to do, or go fall in love with a tree, a flower, an insect, an animal, an ocean, a person, a breeze, or yourself. There is so much for you to love there on earth. There is so much for you to enjoy there on earth. There is so much for you to appreciate there on earth. There are so many wonderful things for you to anticipate and get excited about there on earth. Therefore, why fixate on something that simply hasn't shown up in your experience yet? Allow everything to come in its own perfect timing, and that includes your access to your gifts and abilities. Now, if you like taking a course or a class, or meditating or doing yoga, and you think that you might benefit from doing those things as well, then go right ahead. But if none of those things are really putting you in a frequency of joy, and you are doing them as a means to an end, we've got news for you. There are better ways of manifesting your perfect dream life, your spiritual gifts and abilities, and even the romantic partner that you so desire to have in your life and in your bed. Go and do what it is that you feel like doing the most. And if you feel like sitting around and doing nothing, don't judge yourself for that. Don't judge yourself for scrolling or watching videos. Know that what you feel like doing is appropriate, and it does not make you lazy. It does not make you a bad spiritual person. You have free will, and you are not supposed to do anything. But when you are doing what you most feel like doing in the moment, you certainly are being a spiritual being who is having a physical experience and enjoying that physical experience. And when you do that, you do tend to receive more than non-physical, which includes the likes of us, the archangels, the ascended masters, your higher selves, and your spirit guides, not to mention your oversouls who are also participating all the time. And we did not forget source energy either. You see, you're always supported. You're always being answered no matter what the request is. And while you might not get specifically what you're asking for in any given moment, you will likely get something better. And especially when you're not in any way attached to the specifics of what you have asked for. So yes, you can put out into the universe all of your requests and set all of your intentions, but then do go and live your lives as the free spiritual beings who you really are. And don't wait for anything to show up to give you permission to be you and to do exactly what you want to do. We are the creators, and we love you very much. The information age and darkness lead you into the galactic age. We are here for you. We are the creators. We are a 12th dimensional collective of non-physical beings, and we are here to help. You have made enormous strides there on Earth in this calendar year of 2025, and you will continue to make enormous strides forward as you close out the year. You're making all this progress because of all that has come up for you individually and collectively, not in spite of it. In other words, this is a time where you have to look at everything, to believe everything you are as a society, everything that you have done, and make some very important decisions before moving forward into the galactic age. You are meant to be understanding yourselves better, and part of that involves looking at the shadow side of the self. Now, you're not just going to feel lots of shame and guilt as a result of looking at your shadow. You are also going to embrace that aspect of yourselves individually and collectively. Forgive, accept, and have compassion for the shadow so that you can integrate that aspect of who and what you are and move beyond it. It is only through denial or repression that you hold on to something that is no longer needed or that does not serve you. And so it is important for you to be willing to look within all parts, all aspects, and to remember that all that is does not judge. Source energy is not judging because source energy is too busy creating, loving, appreciating, and expanding out into more of who and what source is. So when you only engage in blame or guilt, you do not allow yourselves fully to become who and what you really are as beings of unconditional love, as the eternal and infinite light bearers that you are. Therefore, let it all come up and out, and remember that the point is not just to call it out for what it is and go into judgment mode with it. The point is to recognize that the darkness has been necessary, and it has provided you with the excellent contrast so that you could decide more clearly for yourselves that you want to be the light. You need the dark to recognize that the light feels better than the dark. You need the dark to give yourselves a reason and an opportunity to forgive, to move past something without having to snuff it out, to disintegrate it, or to pretend that it never existed. This is one of the reasons why you are living in an information age right now. The information age is helping you to get to the galactic age, and you will enter the galactic community officially while acknowledging that you have this darkness and that it has always existed and will always exist as a choice. But as long as you don't fear it, you don't have to keep interacting with it. As long as you don't demonize it, then you don't have to create there to be a demonic type of experience in your lives. Let yourselves grow through these experiences with the dark that you are seeing on your world right now, and you will benefit from all of it, which is what it was always meant to give you as a gift. We are the creators, and we love you very much. The need for you to exist in today's world. We are here for you. We are the creators. We are a 12th dimensional collective of non-physical beings. We know that you have many aspects to who you are there on Earth, and we know that you choose to play many different roles at different times as well, and therefore you can understand who you really are as a soul because you don't just have one identity as a human being. You have several. You change according to circumstances, tasks, the people you are around, and what your desires are in any given moment. You dig deep within yourselves at times to discover new aspects of who you are as a human being, and you uncover various gifts and abilities as they are required of you. When you start to recognize this, you realize that you have a choice in who you are in each and every moment, and no matter what role you are playing for the collective, you are part of it. You can always choose to infuse more of source and of love into what you're being and what you're doing or saying. Therefore, you can live many lives in one single lifetime, because truly, that is the goal of each life that you live. The goal is to do more than just accomplish tasks and make money and perhaps have a spouse and children, friends, and so on. The task at hand will always be to infuse more of source, more of that love that you truly are into all aspects of you as a human being. And so while many people at this time are worried about what they should be doing or what they could be doing that they aren't, a better question to ask oneself is, how can I infuse more of the love of source into this situation? And specifically into myself as the conduit of that love. When you're asking yourselves that question, you're getting to the heart of your very need to exist in the form you are right now. We want to assure you that it is not to accomplish some physical task, some action in the material world, but as you see yourselves as artists who want to use the color of source to paint your reality, then you start to get an idea of what your existence is all about. And certainly everything that you do then becomes more powerful, more impactful, because of what you have infused into it. Certainly you can strive to do things perfectly in the tasks that you perform, but you can do something quite imperfectly while intending to infuse more source energy into it and fulfill the purpose of the task in the first place. All of this exists so that Source can know Source, so that Source can discover what Source is. And when you awaken to the truth that you have the ability to infuse more of that Source into everything, then you are working as an instrument of God, of all that is, of Source energy. And that will be the best feeling experience you can have while in a physical body. It will also help you to feel more fulfilled and purposeful in your life. We are the creators, and we love you very much. A time-tested manifesting trick to employ. We are here for you. We are the creators. We are a 12th dimensional collective of non-physical beings, and we are here to help. We advise you to look within yourselves first for what you are seeking outside of you, because it is the quicker route, and also because you then get to enjoy what it is that manifests in the outside world. Once you have made yourselves whole by going within and discovering everything that you are, the outside world becomes much more enjoyable. When you see that which is outside of you, all that can be enjoyed of human existence, then you get too attached. And when you get in your home or in your garage, it can be stolen or lost or burned up in some way, and you are left feeling empty. And so when you fill yourselves up first, and then go about manifesting the desires that you have for your experience, you'll be better equipped to enjoy those manifestations, and they are more likely to come to you and come to you with very little effort. It is when you're desperate and needy and attached that these things don't come or take a lot of time and effort to bring about. And then because you haven't done enough work on yourselves, you find that the manifestation itself is anticlimactic. It doesn't give you everything that you hoped it would. And then you turn your attention to what you want next for yourself and try to fill yourselves up. So the key here is to fill yourselves up with the love and the light that you truly are. And once you do that, not only do you manifest what you desire, but you enjoy it more and you don't get attached to it. You don't have to then live in fear of something happening to it, because you know that your feeling state is not about what it is that's in front of you that is shiny and new. You know that your feeling state is a choice and that you're capable of it because you have already filled yourself up with the love and the light that you are. You're much more likely to appreciate what you have when you have done this inner work. And when you appreciate what you have appreciates. It becomes more. Now, we know that this is old news for so many of you, but what we are giving you here in this moment is another manifestation trick for you to employ. We want you to fill yourselves up with the light and the love that you truly are because of how you will feel when you do so. But if you need a motivating factor to do it, then certainly having everything that you want come to you is something that you can use. And knowing that you are more likely to enjoy what comes to you when it does is another carrot hanging at the end of the stick. At the end of the day, your lives there on earth are much more about you, becoming more of you than they are about you doing something, even if it is something you would call a purpose or a mission. And they are much more about you becoming you than they are about you having all the goodies to enjoy in the physical reality. But let's face it, the goodies are there for a reason. They serve a purpose, and sometimes you can meditate on something that is shiny and new and bring yourself into alignment with Source, because you will feel the same way Source does about that particular material object. And there is nothing wrong with that. It doesn't matter whether you are into sports cars or orchids. Whatever it takes to bring you into a state of alignment with our Source is something that is worth focusing upon. Very good. We wish all of you the best in completing that task of filling yourselves up with light and love, and all the best of luck in manifesting all of your earthly desires. We are the creators, and we love you very much. Change your future and past in one step. We are here for you. We are the creators. We are a 12th dimensional collective of non-physical beings, and we are here to help. We help you whenever we can and wherever we can, but we do so enjoy watching you help yourselves, and so we give you the tools that you need in order to help yourselves. One of the best and easiest tools that you have at your disposal is your ability to forgive yourself. In many ways, it doesn't matter as much if someone else forgives you unless you are willing to also forgive yourself. Therefore, we invite you to look at all the places in your personal history where you have yet to forgive yourselves for something you did or said and perhaps didn't do or didn't say. We invite you to let yourself off the hook by recognizing that if you knew then what you know now, you would have did or said things differently. And so you can see how you have grown since that event, since that moment in your history. And you can forgive the past for not knowing better or for not making the choice that was the higher vibrational one. Recognize that everyone in all of creation has these moments, has these events. You are not the only one. You are not the only one who has made what you call mistakes, who has slipped up. You are not the only one who has ever operated at a lower vibrational frequency. It's all right. If you can forgive yourself for all the times that you were not at your best, then you can forgive others as well. And you can recognize once and for all that we are all meant to have these slip-ups, these mistakes, these errors in judgment. They inform us as to how we would like to be in the future. They allow us to have the experience of growth from that moment, and they give us the opportunity to forgive ourselves and others. So why should you then be the only one in all of creation who is supposed to be perfect from the moment of your inception? Why would you be the exception to the rule? Why do you think you have to be perfect in every moment of every day that you ever existed? Let yourselves off the hook and feel the relief that you can feel by realizing that you were always meant to be this work in progress and that you are progressing. And the fact that you feel guilty enough to not forgive yourself for a while means that you are progressing. But at some point, you have to let go of the guilt, let go of the perspective that you've been holding on to, so you can move past it and become the version of yourself that you truly want to become. But as long as you're in resistance to your past selves and what they have done or said or not done or said, then you are in many ways destined to repeat those same scenarios because you still haven't really gotten it, that you are supposed to be able to forgive yourselves. It's an important part of the journey, and it's a tool that we're giving you now that you need. So even if we're to say that your slate is wiped clean and you are forgiven for everything, you could still hold on to the lack of forgiveness for yourselves. And that's why we give you this tool instead, so you can do the same for yourself that all of us have already done in the higher realms. We are so happy that you are on your journeys and making your missteps so that you can pick yourselves up and dust yourselves off and grow from those experiences. All of it helps us to expand exponentially and infinitely. We are the creators, and we love you very much. These channeled messages from the creators at 12th Dimensional Collective offer some of the most powerful paradigm-shifting perspectives on human existence. They completely reframe our understanding of purpose, conflict, and spiritual growth in ways that feel both radical and strangely comforting. The first major revelation centers on the idea that we exist within source energy itself, not as separate beings trying to earn God's favor. According to the creators, you are already in the grace of God because you exist as an aspect of that divine source. This means everything that manifests in reality, even the things we find objectionable or resist, serves a higher purpose. The implication is profound. Instead of fighting against what we don't like, our task becomes finding the most perfect response from ourselves to whatever appears. This perspective transforms how we approach everything we find challenging in the world. Rather than seeing ourselves as warriors battling against evil or wrongness, we become artists learning to paint with the colors of source energy. The darkness, the people who trigger us, the situations that make us uncomfortable, they're all here as contrast to help us know ourselves more deeply and choose love more consciously. The beings take this concept further when addressing political polarization and disagreements. They suggest that when someone disagrees with us, instead of getting emotionally activated or trying to prove that we're right, we should get curious about why we attracted that person into our experience. Perhaps we're meant to let go of resistance to their viewpoint, or maybe we're supposed to work through some personal history with them. Sometimes the disagreement exists because together Two opposing perspectives can find a third option that's better than either original position. This approach to conflict resolution feels revolutionary because it removes the need to determine who's right and who's wrong. Instead, it focuses on the best possible outcome for everyone while recognizing that we might not know the path to that outcome. The creators emphasize that we're here to end divisiveness, not perpetuate it. And we do this by changing ourselves first and watching everything outside us shift as a result. On the topic of spiritual development and receiving upgrades, the creators completely flip the typical spiritual hustle culture on its head. They explain that activations, attunements, and upgrades are always being given to us, but we often get in our own way when we try too hard to receive them. The most effective way to open ourselves to these gifts is through relaxation, joy, and love. When we're trying to force spiritual growth or desperately seeking abilities, we actually block the natural flow. This means the person scrolling social media or sitting around doing nothing might actually be more aligned with receiving spiritual upgrades than someone frantically attending every workshop and meditation retreat. The key is following what feels good and not judging yourselves for your natural inclinations. When we're genuinely enjoying life and falling in love with the simple things around us, trees and flowers, a gentle breeze, we naturally align with higher frequencies. The messages also address our current historical moment, describing how the information age is preparing us for what they call the galactic age. All the darkness being exposed in our world right now is not something to fear or suppress. It's necessary for our growth as a species because we need to examine and integrate our shadow side before we can join the galactic community as mature beings. The process involves looking at everything, both individually and collectively, without just judging it. We're meant to embrace our shadow aspects, forgive them, accept them, and have compassion for them so we can integrate rather than deny or repress them. The darkness serves as contrast that helps us choose light more consciously. As long as we don't fear it or demonize it, we don't have to keep interacting with it in destructive ways. This transforms us from people worried about finding the right career or purpose into artists using the color of source to paint our reality. We can do something quite imperfectly while attending to infuse source energy and still fulfill our deeper purpose. When we see ourselves as instruments of the divine, everything becomes more powerful and impactful regardless of how it looks from the outside. The manifestation teachings focus on a time-tested principle. Look within yourself first for what you're seeking outside of you. The key is to fill yourself up with love and light before trying to manifest external things. When we approach manifestation from wholeness rather than desperation, things flow more easily and we actually enjoy them when they arrive. The problem with seeking fulfillment through external manifestation is that when we haven't done the inner work, getting what we want often feels anticlimactic. It does not fill the void we hoped it would, so we immediately start wanting the next thing. But when we fill ourselves up first, we're less attached, more appreciative of what we have, and more likely to receive what we desire with ease. Perhaps the most practical tool offered in these messages is the power of self-forgiveness. The creators emphasize that forgiving ourselves is one of the most transformative things we can do. They invite us to look at our personal history and identify all the places where we haven't forgiven ourselves for things we did or didn't do, said or didn't say. The recognition they offer is simple but profound. If you knew then what you know now, you would have acted differently. You've grown since these moments. You're not the only person in all of creation who has made mistakes or operated from lower vibrational frequencies. Everyone has these slip-ups, and they serve important purposes. They inform us about how we want to be in the future, allow us to experience growth, and give us opportunities to practice forgiveness. The trap many people fall into is thinking they should have been perfect from the moment of inception, making themselves the one exception to the universal rule that growth involves making mistakes. As long as we resist our past selves and what they did or didn't do, we often find ourselves destined to repeat similar scenarios because we haven't learned the fundamental lesson of self-forgiveness. What makes these teachings particularly compelling is how they weave together into coherent worldviews that's both practical and transcendent. They don't ask us to deny our human experience or pretend everything is perfect. Instead, they invite us to see our challenges, conflicts, and even our mistakes as part of our larger tapestry of growth and awakening. The overall message is one of radical acceptance, coupled with conscious choice. We can accept that everything happening is part of a divine plan while still choosing how we want to respond. We can embrace our shadow aspects while consciously choosing light. We can forgive our past mistakes while committing to growth. We can empty material manifestations while finding our true fulfillment within. These perspectives offer a way of being human that feels both grounded and elevated, practical and mystical. They suggest that our ordinary moments of joy, our willingness to forgive ourselves, and our capacity to respond to challenges with love are actually the most profound spiritual practices available to us. In a world that often feels chaotic and divided, this feels like exactly the kind of wisdom that we need. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com. Be sure to check out my art. You can find it at www.newearth.art. I have a live event I'm hosting in Los Angeles on November 21st through the 23rd. I would love to see you there. You can buy tickets by going to www.brianscottlive.com/event-November. And as always, welcome to the Reality Revolution.